Hey guys, I'm back. I told you I was going to post if I updated anything on the gun or if my parts came in and I was doing any kind of installs. So that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Actually, this came a day late. I ordered it from Amazon. They promised that it would be here by yesterday, which was May the 4th. But for some reason, the U.S. Postal Service, of course, I don't know what's wrong with them, but they never can seem to deliver anything on time. But it showed up today. It was only 24 hours late, not a big deal. But what I've got here, here's the box. I have opened it, so this would be my Hogue grips. These are the wraparound overmold with the finger grooves. So it's going to give a lot nicer purchase. I got a little bit bigger hands. I'm almost 6'5". So even the grip on the Beretta seems a bit small. But let's go ahead and open this up. And got this nice little piece of cardboard here. Of course, looks like we have just some instructions about the fit, general information, and I suppose these are, let's see, looks like this was, it comes with an extra shim. This is needed, as mentioned, if you have an early model Beretta 92. Now, mine is not an early model. It's a brand new A1, so it's a late model. So I'm not going to need that, but let's move on. Here are the grips. Of course, it has the finger grooves there. It does have a rubberized texture, gives you a little bit more purchase there, a little bit less slippage, which I've never had a problem with these grips. But let's go ahead and get them installed. So first we'll get my Beretta. Of course, to make everyone happy, of course, it is not loaded. Empty chamber. And of course, empty mag well. So let's drop the hammer on that. And let's get to removing these grips. Of course, this is one of the easiest modifications you can do to a Beretta. But we will these pulled off here. Up. Now something, and I'm just going to put out there that I've heard some people have had problems with is these washers here. There's little locking washers in the original grips. Some people have had problems with getting a flush fit on the screws with those. I'm going to try it with them on one of the screws. If it doesn't sit flush, then I'll remove it. It's not a problem. But we'll go ahead and pop those washers out, maybe. There we go. They're seated fairly well into that plastic. All right, so one grip gone. And I'm trying to take a little bit of care in taking these off. I'm not rushing it and slamming around, because one thing is these screws don't exactly have the best finish on them. I mean, it's not meant to be super durable, but it can come off. So let me go ahead and get this other washer out. Perfect. Alright, so I've got both grips off. And I've got the washer out of the stock grips. So as you can see here, it's completely see-through. So let's go ahead and we will fit these on here. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and start with the left side first. And like I say, I'll try the washer on one of the screws. It looks like it is going to stick up too far, but we'll go ahead and try it all the same. Yeah, that is not sitting flush, so we'll pull the washer out of there. From everything that I've read, when it comes to this washer, is it's good to have, but it's not necessarily needed. So yeah, that's sitting nice and flush now. Don't want to oversnug those. Alright, that is one side on. Let's go ahead and tighten down the other side. Okay, one more screw here. Got everything on, make sure it lines up properly. Everything looks good. Let's make sure everything still cycles and functions as normal. Everything's good. So, easy installation. It only took me a couple of minutes. I've been rambling a little bit, and so we're at almost 7.5 minutes now, and it only took me maybe 3 or 4 of that to actually do this installation. But the install is fairly flawless, of course. These are not factory grips, so you will need to do a little bit of making sure you hold it, because they're mass produced and not to the exact same exacting perfect specifications that the actual gun is. So as you're screwing it on, you will need to kind of hold the grip over just a little bit so you can screw it down and it actually seat properly. But say I had no problem doing that. They are flexible. The main issue there is just where it attaches to the front, where the finger grooves are. Just got to make sure that stretches a little bit. But absolutely, this is an incredibly easy install. I love the way that this feels compared to before. It definitely, you got a lot better grip on that. Not saying I had a bad grip on it before, but again, this is just so much more comfortable. In one hand, holding with two, it's a major improvement here. So definitely, I am glad that I got these, even though they are a bit late. I absolutely love this particular firearm. This pistol is one of my favorites, and now I like it even more. It fits in my hand even better. Again, as I mentioned in my previous video, I do have some other parts that are going to be on the way. Specifically, what's coming in the short term, I have a fluted stainless steel guide rod and new recoil spring that will be here hopefully before the end of this week. I ordered it from Wilson Combat, and they shipped it out fairly quickly. They said it was going to be here either, I believe it's either tomorrow or the day after. Then, of course, I do have the short reach trigger from Brownells. that is a Wilson Combat. It's a steel short reach trigger. Wilson Combat did not have them in stock when I ordered from their site. However, Brownells did. So I went ahead and ordered it from Brownells. Along with the trigger, I did get the upgraded lower poundage trigger return spring. That will not work with the factory polymer trigger unless you do some kind of gunsmithing on that trigger. It's a polymer trigger, so you would just need to take a file or some sandpaper and sand down a part in there to make it fit. But I was going to be getting the steel trigger anyways, so I didn't really feel like I needed to modify this. And of course, not modifying it will give me a little bit better opportunity to, if I ever wanted to put it back to stock, I could. The last thing that I do have on the way is going to be a lower poundage hammer spring, a reduced power hammer spring. Between the trigger spring and the hammer spring, it's going to lighten the double action pull. Right now it is fairly heavy. There is a little bit of stacking in there, and of course when it breaks, you can definitely feel that. Then of course the single action trigger resets fairly quickly, and not much there, but it lightens it even more. With the short reach trigger, the nice thing that I've noticed is in their particular, in all of their images, their stock images, it seems to set the trigger right about here to start with the double action pull, and then with the single action pull, it brings it almost all the way back. Right now, your single action pull sits pretty far back, but that short reach trigger sets it back even farther. Almost to where it looks like you are going to hit the frame before that trigger pulls. But I do have those on the way. After those are installed, and I have a chance to kind of play around with them, the next things that I am going to be getting, I'm going to be getting a extended checkered mag release from Wilson Combat. I will be getting their low profile safety. Now, I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do the G conversion on this yet. I do like having having the safety, especially for this being something that I'm going to keep in my house. I don't want it to just be something that anybody can get a hold of and just start pulling the trigger and bad things happen. Of course, if there's not one in the chamber, it's not going to happen. But still, I'm not sure how I would feel about that. I'm also I decided I am going to replace at least the rear sight, maybe not the front, but the rear sight I am going to install the Wilson Combat standard sized or the factory sized serrated sight. It does have a little bit bigger groove here, so that you can kind of see the front sight a little bit better, and it is serrated, so there's a lot less glare off of that. Now, the one thing too that I know I'm going to get, I just haven't had a chance to find where I'm going to get it from yet, and that is the skeletonized or elite hammer. It's basically the same as this particular hammer, and I'll show you that. It's the same as this hammer here, except it's all milled out in here, so it's a lot lighter hammer. It aids in lightening the hammer pull, or the trigger pull. But that's what I'm going to be doing here. I say look for a few more videos within the next few days. I am going to take this out shooting before I finish all of the upgrades to it. Actually, tomorrow I'm going to be going out to a friend of mine's pistol range, and we're going to be doing some shooting tomorrow. I'll give you an update of what I think of the gun, how smooth it runs, just right now. And then after the upgrade, I will take it out shooting again and let you know what I think. But that's what I've done so far. Got the grips installed. I'm glad I apologize about all the rambling. I'm glad you tuned in, and I will see you next time with some new upgrades.